While making Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, Peter Criss and Ace Frehley were disgruntled with the band and wanted to quit. Instead of quitting, it was decided that each member of Kiss should do a solo album. They would be released on the same day and have matching covers. Or at least that's the story the band usually tells. Some documents were leaked online a few years ago revealing that the solo albums were part of a contract Kiss had with Casablanca Records. And Ace did say that he wrote Rocket Ride for his solo album before giving it up for Alive 2. That album was in '77. The timing of the solo albums may have happened because of the band not getting along, but they probably would have happened regardless. Casablanca president Neil Bogart probably felt it was too good of a marketing scheme to not do it. Peter's album was produced by Vinnie Poncia. The core band on the record is Peter on drums and lead vocals, Bill Bodine on bass, Art Munson and Stan Penridge on guitars, and Bill Cuomo on keyboards. To further complicate things, Peter was in a car crash during the filming of Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park that injured his hands. He said, "I wound up hiring Vinnie Poncia to produce me. He had produced Melissa Manchester, but I was more excited because he was Ringo Starr's co-writer. We hit it off immediately. I hadn't completely healed yet, so I played drums with a little cast on each finger. It was incredibly painful, but I had a goal in mind. To do the best album of the four and leave the band with dignity." Yeah, that didn't happen. Written by Peter and Penridge, the operative word here is bland. There's no spark. Peter's voice sounds good, the production is solid, and the musicianship is fine, but it's a nothing song that doesn't connect. I forget it as soon as I hear it, and that's not a good way to start a record. This song was written by Poncia, John Festano, and Michael Morgan. Poncia said, "John Festano was in a band that I produced called Whitewater. He was a very bluesy singer and songwriter. He was always writing those kind of white R&B songs, and that's what Peter loved. John brought the song in, and Michael Morgan and I designed it for Peter." This one is better than the opener. It's certainly more memorable, but I don't think I can say that it's good. It's just so corny. That keyboard riff during the chorus is the goofiest thing. It doesn't work for me. What I liked about Peter's Kiss songs like Hooligan and Baby Driver is that they had some attitude and punch. This is wimpy and lame, and that's not a complaint against the style. I can get into soul and R&B. This is just a poor imitation of that stuff. This is a cover of the Bobby Lewis hit, and it's one of the album's highlights. It's fun and upbeat. Peter did a good cover. It kicks the energy of the record up and should have been the opening song. And the momentum is immediately halted. Written by Peter and Penridge, the record is back to bland and lame. However, I do think there's potential with this song. With a simpler production and a slightly different arrangement, this could be a solid song. I can hear it in there. But as is, it's just silly. They sound ridiculous. Peter said, "People often ask how I come up with my lyrics and ideas for songs. Take That's the Kind of Sugar Papa Likes, a song in the album that I co-wrote with Stan Penridge. I was at the house one night watching Humphrey Bogart in The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, and in one scene he finds out he has a winning ticket and he's going to get 200 pesos. He says, 'That's the kind of sugar Papa likes.' Of course, we changed the sugar reference from money to sex." Yeah, just because something works for Humphrey Bogart doesn't mean it's going to work for your R&B record. I guess this song's okay. At least it's upbeat, and the guitar solo by Steve Lukather is great. He should have been on the whole album. I do wish the background vocalist would shut up during it, but it's still a solid solo. However, the guitar tone on the album is super weak. I guess it's fine for the soulful ballads, but for these rockier tunes, they really needed some meat on their bones. I hate to keep using the word, but it's the most appropriate. It sounds lame. Before Poncia joined the project, Peter had originally asked someone else to produce the record. However, that producer turned him down, so Peter turned to Sean Delaney. Unfortunately for Peter, Delaney had already agreed to produce Gene Simmons' record. Delaney did agree to produce a demo for Peter that he could use to hire a producer. They put together 3 tracks, and those songs are on the record pretty much as they were recorded for the demo. Delaney is given producer credit on these 3 tracks alongside Peter and Poncia. These tracks also featured a different band. Alan Schwartzberg played drums, Peter was unable to due to his injuries, John Tropia played guitar, and Richard Gerstein played keyboards. Easy Thing, written by Peter and Penridge, is the first of the 3 Delaney tracks. It also features Elliot Randall and Brendan Harkin on guitar alongside Tropia. It's a decent song, I like how it builds. It pretty much starts with just Peter's voice and an acoustic guitar, and then gets bigger from there. There's a grandiose nature to it that I think the production lets down a little. They're clearly going for something big and epic. Peter's singing his ass off, but it just misses the mark. Written by Delaney, this is the second of the songs he produced. And it sucks. They're trying to do like a 50s rock thing, and it just doesn't work. It's so unmemorable. Like I'm Gonna Love You, I forget it as soon as I hear it. Written by Peter and Penridge, this track credits Peter as producer alongside Poncia, and it's the worst track on the record. I give Poncia credit for holding back a little bit. The production is simple, it's just Peter's voice, a couple of acoustic guitars, some percussion, and some background vocals. It's simple and it works. What kills the song is Peter's voice. It's not the worst vocal performance ever, but the song is out of his range and it sounds weird. Any potential the song has is gone the second he opens his mouth. Written by Peter and Penridge, this song is somewhat autobiographical for Peter, and it's one of the better songs. I think it would have been better on a Kiss album with tougher production and Ace on guitar, but it's fine as is. The final song on the record is also the final track from the Delaney sessions. It was written by Delaney and again features Elliot Randall on guitar. This is Easy Thing done right, and ultimately, it's the best song on the record. Delaney's lyrics are great and Peter sings them really well. It captures the feeling of lost love with the right mix of sincerity and melodrama. And the guitar solo is great. Everything about the song works, and it's a standout track from Peter's catalog. Peter's solo album was the least successful of the 4. Its 2 singles, Don't You Let Me Down and You Matter to Me, failed to chart. The album peaked at number 43. If you haven't been able to tell, I'm not a huge fan of this record. And it's not just because Peter didn't make a rock and roll record. I understand that this R&B style was what Peter was passionate about. I just think he's really bad at it. The songs are lame, thinly produced, and uninteresting. There are exceptions, of course. This is not the worst record ever made, even though some Kiss fans might say differently. Again, I love I Can't Stop the Rain, but that's one great song. The rest never quite get above okay, and there's no structure or flow to the album. Anytime the record starts to gain momentum, a boring and silly ballad derails the entire thing. It is easily the worst of the 4 solo albums, and if I'm being honest, I think it's the worst record in the Kiss catalog.